Hey there, folks. Welcome to Advisory. I hope you guys are all doing well. Before we get started with our topic, I've got a couple of announcements. The first is regarding AFC. All right, whenever you are absent 5 or more times from a class, you owe hours for that class. And in order to see whether or not you owe hours for a class, you need to go to this link, bit.ly/WTWAFC, or scan this code. That will have you type in your student ID and see if you owe any hours. If you do owe hours, then you will be filling out another QR code through your math classes, and that should be happening this week. So scan here to see if you do owe hours for AFC, and then you will be doing the rest of the process in your math classes. I will also have this slide in the slides so you can click to it here in a minute if you need more time to scan the code or whatever. Also, if you are a boy who is interested in playing soccer or football, then you need to come to the meeting today after school from 4:40 to 5 p.m. in the cafeteria. It's not the official tryout, it's just the meeting about tryouts and all of the information that you might need. So if you're interested in participating in boys soccer this year, go to the meeting today after school in the cafeteria from 4:40 to 5 p.m. All right, today in Advisory, we are continuing our series over academic skills. Today, we're going to hone in specifically on time management. We've talked about time management in small ways through the other academic skills, but now we're really going to focus in on how to manage your time. You should have answered some of those discussion questions before the video got started. We hear all the time from teachers and other adults that we need to use our time wisely. And really, what that comes down to is time management. So, here are my 7 ideas on how to best manage your time. Now, I know I mentioned this yesterday, especially in regards to getting things ready for the Thanksgiving break, but you got to have a to do list and a calendar that you can write things down on because it's very difficult to keep track of all the things that we have to do just in our brain.
Nuh-uh, Mr. Hall, I am a genius, so I keep all of my tasks in order in my brain.
That's probably not true. You probably need to write some things down. It helps you to focus on other things in your brain, to have things written out so you can go and reference it whenever you are confused as to what needs to get done next. Number 2 is, as best as you can, find your productive time. There's a lot of research out there that says the most productive time for people is usually in the morning after you wake up and you have the most energy from getting the good night's sleep that you got. And that this peak right here is when you're in the best mood and you have the most amount of energy. And after that, there's usually some sort of drop in mood or energy. This is not necessarily the same for everybody. It doesn't happen at the same time as everybody, but it might be interesting to think about which of your classes you feel the most energized in. Is it the morning classes? Is it the afternoon classes? When in the day do you feel like you have most energy and the highest amount of motivation to get things done? If you have like on a Saturday or a full day off and you have some homework, it might be interesting to work early in the morning and then maybe stop and work again at noon and then again in the evening to see which of those times is the easiest for you to focus and stay motivated. Number 3 is to take advantage of free time. Obviously, we need rest. We need to recuperate after doing a lot of things, a lot of tasks, but sometimes we are given a lot of free time throughout the day that we don't necessarily take advantage of. For instance, if the teacher stops talking and gives you 20 to 25 minutes or 30 minutes to work on a task, if your first reaction to that is,
Ugh, thank God they finally stopped talking. Now I'm free to play Angry Birds, free of interruptions.
just think of how you're using the small spaces that we get throughout the day of relative free time. Are you using it to goof off and therefore making it difficult later for you to have to do homework? Or are you taking advantage of the time when it is given to you? Number 4 is also one that we've talked about a lot. It's to limit your distractions, especially during times where you're trying to be focused. It's okay to take certain breaks where you're checking texts or social media or just messing around on your phone. But when you're trying to work, when you're trying to focus in, you need to almost physically put your phone away and to the side, maybe turn off your notifications. There are all sorts of ways where we can limit the distractions that naturally happen throughout the day. Number 5 is to work on one thing at a time. I mean, look at this lady. She looks miserable trying to do all that at once. It can be really stressful to have a bunch of things on your list, but if you try to tackle them all at once, then each task is going to suffer and you're not going to get as much done as you would have if you just focus on one thing at a time before switching to another activity. Number 6 is to create time blocks. This is for when you have big chunks of time that you need to get a lot of stuff done. It's good to budget that time out and be very specific about what you're going to work on when and when you're going to take your breaks. So you see an example here is that if you have 2 hours to work, maybe you spend 30 minutes working on one subject like algebra. Maybe you spend 10 minutes and you go outside, you touch some grass, you get some fresh air. Maybe you do 20 minutes worth of drawing practice because you're in a drawing class. And then you take another break. Maybe you eat a snack, 30 minutes into an English reading assignment, and maybe you take another break. And then you use the rest of the time to study for a test, right? This is just an example, but it will help to budget these things out. It'll help you to not multitask, and it will give your brain kind of a lot of different breaks and a lot of interesting things to switch to. And if you're focused, you'll probably get more done in these smaller time blocks than you would if you had spent the entire 2 hours doing algebra homework only or just doing one subject. So try making some sort of a schedule for your work time and see if that doesn't help things get done a little bit quicker. And then number 7, I always harp on it. I will shout it from the hilltops forever. You got to get good sleep. All right. The only way that you can manage your time, the only way that you can budget your time well or use the time that you have wisely is if you have enough energy to get those things done while you have the time. And the only way to have that energy is to properly take care of your body, including getting plenty of rest. All right, so those are my 7 tips on how to manage your time. I want you to use the rest of advisory to make a to-do list for just today, or maybe create a time block schedule for the next work session that you might have, or fill out a calendar for the week or the rest of the semester, even with assignments and due dates and things like that. Also, if you didn't get a chance yesterday to fill out our gratitude form this year, you can take some time to do that. I'll have this slide as well as the other QR codes and meeting announcements in the slides for you. If you have not filled that out yet, I would love to hear what you are grateful for. We're going to collect all the answers and do something fun with them on Friday before we get out for Thanksgiving break. And again, you can scan this code or you can go to, hold on, let me shrink myself.
bit.ly/WTW gratitude. But that's all from me. Be good to yourself and others. Use your time wisely, and I'll see you tomorrow.